Okay, we are going to review our notes from last time, motion, speed, and velocity. And we're not going to review the whole notes. We're just going to go through and make sure we remember how to do the velocity problems. So at this point, if you haven't done so already, then take out your notes from last class, motion, speed, and velocity. And I left a few extra copies. So if you don't have yours from last class or you're absent, be sure to get this and turn to the back page, and we'll get started on our velocity problem. So I'll give you a few seconds. Go ahead and get that done. Okay, now turn to the back page, and I'm going to do problem number 3 with you, and then you will do problems 4 through 8 on your own. Alright, so everybody should be looking at problem number 3. Now, when you do these problems, I expect that you follow every single step, okay, as best as possible, because a lot of you get ahead of yourself and you try to do these, but if you don't follow these steps, then you get confused and you plug the numbers in wrong and you get the wrong answer. So I want to make sure you guys clearly know how to do these. So because these problems are worded more like word problems, we need to be able to extract the information from it. So first thing, as I read this question, I see this phrase says, what is velocity? Okay, that tells me that that's the question. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, now remember, velocity has to do with direction. So instead of velocity, I'm just going to find speed. So speed and velocity, remember, they're the same thing. It's just velocity has direction, speed doesn't. So on this page, if it asks for velocity, just do the speed. Don't worry about the direction. Okay, so this question is asking for velocity. So I know that from these math problems that we've been doing, there are only 3 variables we've used: d, r, and t. I know that d equals distance, r equals the rate, and t equals the time. So from here, if it's asking me for the speed, that's like saying what is the rate, so I can put a big question mark right here for the rate. Now, I'm going to give you guys 10 seconds to go through, and I want you to circle in the word problem what else the problem gives you that you'll need to know to solve this. So go ahead. As we already stated, we are looking for the velocity. That is our unknown. That's why I put a big question mark over here by rate, because the velocity is our rate. Next thing, we see 3,000 miles. What does that number represent? Okay, if I say that I traveled 3,000 miles, that tells you the distance that I traveled. So that means we would put 3,000 miles over here. Now, one thing I hope you realize is that I put units. Anytime you write a number, put the units. Those will be easy points for you to get points on the test. Plus, it helps you get the correct answer. So we have our distance is 3,000 miles, and then next we have this up here. It says 5 hours. Hopefully you know 5 hours would be a measure of time. That means we would put 5 hours down here. Now I'm going to abbreviate miles as MI, and I'm going to abbreviate hours as HR. Okay, the next step that I want you to do is write down the dirt equation, the D equals RT equation. Don't rearrange it yet, just write it down. So it looks like this: D equals R times T. That's our dirt equation. Now what I'm going to have you do is I want you to rearrange this equation so that you are solving for your unknown. So in this case, R is our unknown value. That's our unknown, so I want you guys to solve for R. And what I mean by solving for R means I want you to get R by itself on one side. I'm going to give you guys about 25 seconds to do this. Okay, if we want R by itself, that means we need to get rid of this T right here. If we want to get rid of that T, because we have multiply going on right there, the way we counteract a multiply is to simply divide. So this multiply and divide, they cancel each other off for the t if we put a t down here. So now we have a t on top, a t on bottom, so we can cancel the t's off. But if we do that to the right side, we have to do it to the left side, so we have to divide this side by t as well. So when we do it this way, we get d over t equals r. Now I'm going to take this entire equation, I'm going to flip it. So I'm going to put r on the other side, so that I get r equals d over t. I didn't change anything on the equation, I just put the r on the left side as opposed to the right side. Now once I have my equation solved for my unknown, so my unknown is by itself, now I can just plug in numbers. I know that my distance in this problem was 3,000 miles, and I divide it by my time, which was 5 hours. So when I do that, 3,000 divided by 5, that is equal to, I'm running out of room, so I'm going to write it down here, that is equal to 600, but if that's all I put as my answer, I would lose a point. Why? Because I don't include the units. So this could be written as miles per hour, okay, or as we see in the car, we could write it as 600 mph. Now, although this is technically correct, this is what I would want to see on your paper, because this shows that you're dividing the miles by the hours, and so those would be the better units to use. So your final answer from this is 600 miles per hour. Now that's the speed. If we wanted to make this the velocity, all we would say is that it was traveling 600 miles per hour from New York to California. That would imply direction. So now what I want you guys to do is take a little bit of time going through and answering questions 4 through 8. Okay, you're answering questions number 4 through 8, so the last 5 problems on this page. Then I want you guys to work a little bit together, so you guys can work together for a few minutes, but then I want you to work on your own. And so then once everybody's done with this, after a little bit of time, I'm going to give you the correct answers. You'll go through and you will correct you'll write down the correct answers, and if you got any of them wrong, you have to redo them on the back. So make sure you're doing your best to get these right, otherwise you will have to redo them, and you'll need to have these done before I let you guys do your last activity of the day, which I think you'll enjoy a little bit more than what you've been doing. So anyways, good luck, and I will if you have any questions, let me know. I will also post this on Edmodo, so if you get confused or stuck, you could always access this on Edmodo. All right.